So next is principle of remote sensing. So in the previous video we already studied about remote sensing technique and the process which is behind remote sensing technique. So let's study principle of remote sensing. Detection and discrimination of objects or surface features means detecting and recording of radiant energy reflected or emitted by the objects or surface material. So I already explained to you this in the previous video. അതായത് നമ്മളൊരു ഒബ്ജക്റ്റിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു സർഫസ് ഒരു ഏരിയയുടെ സർഫസ് ഫീച്ചേഴ്സിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ട് ഡിറ്റക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും അതുപോലെ ഡിസ്ക്രിമിനേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നതും എങ്ങനെയാണ്. സോ അതിൽ നിന്ന് തട്ടി വരുന്ന റേഡിയേഷൻസ് റെക്കോർഡ് ചെയ്ത് ഡിറ്റക്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് അല്ലേ. സോ ഇതാണ് ആക്ച്വലി റിമോട്ട് സെൻസിൻ്റെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പിൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. സോ പ്രിൻസിപ്പിൾ ഓഫ് റിമോട്ട് സെൻസിങ് ഈസ് ബൈ ഡിറ്റക്റ്റിംഗ് ആൻഡ് റെക്കോർഡിംഗ് ദി energy which is reflected from the objects or surface features of an area. Okay, different objects return different amount of energy in different bands of electromagnetic spectrum incident upon it. So ഓരോ ഒബ്ജക്റ്റും എത്ര എമൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് എനർജിയാണ് റിഫ്ലക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്നത് ഡിപ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ ആ ഇലക്ട്രോമാഗ്നറ്റിക് സ്പെക്ട്രത്തിൻ്റെ ബാൻഡ്സിൻ്റെ ഡിപ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കും. സോ ഇലക്ട്രോമാഗ്നറ്റിക് സ്പെക്ട്രം എന്താണ് ബാൻഡ് ഓഫ് ഇലക്ട്രോമാഗ്നറ്റിക് സ്പെക്ട്രം, അത് നമ്മൾ ഇനി പഠിക്കും. ഓക്കെ, സോ ഹിയർ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ഒബ്ജക്ട്സ് reflect different amount of energy and it depends upon the bands of electromagnetic spectrum. So regarding bands of electromagnetic spectrum you will study later in this module itself. Okay, this depends upon the property of material, that is structural, chemical and physical, surface roughness, angle of incidence, intensity and wavelength of radiant energy. So the amount of energy reflected by an object depends upon the different factors such as property of material, surface roughness of the object, angle of incidence of the electromagnetic radiation on the object, intensity and wavelength of the radiant energy. Okay, the remote sensing is basically a multidisciplinary science which includes a combination of various disciplines such as optics, spectroscopy, photography, computer, electronics and telecommunication, satellite launching, etc. So here remote sensing is a multidisciplinary subject. Okay, it includes various branches such as optics, okay, related to light and all, spectroscopy, then photography, then computer, electronics and communication and satellite launching. Okay, satellite launching comes when the usage of sensor. Here I already told you that sensors are mounted in a satellite. Okay, then all these technologies are integrated to act as one complete system in itself known as remote sensing system. Okay, so here all these technologies such as optics, spectroscopy, photography and all are integrated to act as a one complete system which is known as a remote sensing system. Okay, next is stages in remote sensing. Emission of electromagnetic radiation, okay, or electromagnetic radiation can also be represented as EMR or sun or cell emission. Okay, stages in remote sensing is first stage is emission of electromagnetic radiation, next is transmission of energy from the source to the surface of earth as well as absorption and scattering, then interaction of EMR with the earth's surface, reflection and emission, transmission of energy from the surface to the remote sensor, then sensor data output. So these stages I already explained by using a figure in the previous video. That is, first of all, first stage is here emission of electromagnetic energy from a source. Okay, emission of electromagnetic energy. Next is transmission of energy from the source to the surface of earth. So here this process itself, the initial process, transmission of this electromagnetic energy from the energy source. Okay, next is interaction of EMR with the earth's surface. It includes reflection and emission. Okay, that is here the next process. When this electromagnetic radiation strikes the object, some get absorbed, some get transmitted and some get reflected. Okay, next is transmission of energy from the surface to the remote sensor. So this energy get transmitted from the object to the sensor. Okay. Next is sensor data output. So, from the sensor we get data output. Okay. So, these are the various stages in a remote sensing.